Prejudice.
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, liberty and justice for all.
The minutes of our last meeting, October 17th. There are any questions on the minutes? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the Personnel and Finance Subcommittee and the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the Zion Park District dated October 17th, 2024. Commissioner Carlson?
Aye. Aye.
Commissioner Hyde?
Aye.
On item number 3, yes.
So those are both staff members, so they'll get
One. For approval of agenda and any additional
no changes.
comments?
Oh yeah, we need a motion to approve.
You have to approve that?
Yeah.
Okay. Entertaining a motion to approve the agenda.
Carlson?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Good, and then move on to item number 5, commissioner comments. Well, it was nice to get out. Thank you for everybody. I had the same concern about probably most of the board members has too. I know that was a major function, and I'm not sure how design fits into the mold of the park or the partnerships. It still seems like from the mayor's perspective, they take credit for everything the park is doing. So I kind of felt that I understand it, I get it, it's just kind of a simple issue, but put next to it is to heard some like in conjunction with the park. I think the partnership does a lot. Good staff, quick use, and we should just continue to push it, try and get that out there.
Yeah, because many people don't know we're separate.
Right. Pretty well recommended there, maybe we should talk about it.
I don't know. I think it's the mayor wants to.
But then when I'm proud of my partner. Create a positive way of life for
I also like to mention the young people nice to and I attended the City Hall and I thought that went quite well.
Yeah, no, I was going to add to that in my.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. Okay.
Any additional comments? Move on to the attorney report.
No report from the attorney.
Motion to I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the expenditures for the month of October 2024 in the amount of $1,347,783.47.
Second.
Commissioner Thompson?
Aye.
Commissioner
Aye.
Commissioner
Aye.
Aye.
And now for the executive director.
Yeah, I wanted to start by just talking about the Trail of Treats event that we had in October. I think the recreation team did a great job, planning another successful event. We had a great turnout. Weather was pretty good. So I think that is another good positive event for the community that goes through Shiloh Park. We have some good pictures, and been asking the staff, kind of add some pictures and stuff so the board can see some of the different event pictures if they're not able to attend. But there's some really, really cool pictures from Trail of Treats.
The good point where that road so large that 700 days. So I mean, every year that's higher, which is good. Yeah. But is it a point of we're telling people to bring out the trees for a certain amount of days? Every year we run out. First year across the street, go back to my church with the hammers or pencils or pinwheels or whatever, just whatever we need to.
Because I read online that there was shortages, but
How do we? So when the time is done, there's still cars behind. We go till can you rent up?
No, we go ahead and shut it down. They do close it at a certain time.
we make sure that so the rangers will kind of estimate how long it's taking to get through there, and we'll shut the line down. The cars that are waiting. So the last car coming through the trail is actually coming at 6 p.m. Very rough. I think the reason it was so high and weather that there were a lot of walkers.
Second year.
Yes. So a lot of those walkers will go up and down, up and down. So I think that so they did. There were a lot of them, but I think because
so you can prevent that by making them just go one way. Rather than up and down.
or
It's
just
hard.
right.
Yeah.
And so once they leave that but we have no way. If it's just somebody, like so we saw you twice, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
In years past, we did not necessarily advertise the walking component, but just a nature of our community walkers. Or nature together and yeah. They might end up what we do.
Would you be telling people next year that it's 700 the new floor?
Instead of our 500.
I mean, I just wonder because you feel badly,
Yeah.
I think some idea for your own.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I suppose we could tell them.
It's just hard to judge, and with Shiloh Park being renovated,
Yeah, the good weather.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
that's such a large number. So really from that interest is wonderful. How much it costs. Everything else, it's very high, and typically they also participate in other events. Also do what we're asking them to $1 constant. We also don't. So it is.
I've always been
table. But coming through the grandchild, it was a lot of fun. I didn't realize how people were so festive when they dress up.
Oh, yeah.
I can do my dress up by myself. I do pretty well with that. But I'm just saying, we really take this seriously. A lot of kids. I saw more of that than I thought. Very festive.
Yeah.
Well, and the community. And
Yeah.
I guess people go out, they're so grateful, right? Because it really is, it's easy something for them to that we're just, they're happy, right? And so it's nice
So also you can see there through the director's report, we had the preschool took a field trip to the Crowell's Pumpkin Farm and had a good Halloween party. Basketball, the youth basketball program is now ongoing that the rec team coordinates, pretty much taking the lead by David Osborne. He's got about, I think, about 85 participants at this point. We have indoor swimming lessons going on at the natatorium for over at the high school that we're coordinating. I do want to mention too, you'll see in the report that our lifeguards received the silver International Aquatic Safety Award for their efforts during the summer, which was good.
How's the judge?
Proud of them for that. So that's based on, so Ellis will come out and do these independent audits. So that's part of the audit process. When the Ellis auditors come out and observe the lifeguards at different points during the summer.
unannounced.
Yeah, unannounced. They don't know that they're being observed. We had a great partnership with the library to offer a Hispanic Heritage event. We had a good turnout for that. So the Park District table, you can see in the picture there, Kay's working the Park District table where we had crystal skulls that they decorated, sugar skulls.
Those sugar skulls were good.
Yeah.
So the price of, club actually.
And so then if you flip to like the golf operations report, you can see kind of some of the projects and things, people are asking like, well, what does golf staff do over the winter months? And so that's when they're kind of taking advantage of, golfers being on the course and they're starting to do, some different projects and things like that that they can't do during the season. So I think, Alan's got some good shots here on some of the golf course improvements, that they constantly are working on. I also wanted to mention some of the forestry management grants that we've got going on. Mike Priller, our staff member here, is yeah. Okay. Where at?
Will be on the golf course.
Is that one of the bunker?
We had a decent amount of rain and, then the first six was one of them.
Oh yeah, see that's bunker 6 there.
No, fucking no,
The second. It's a larger picture with like all that drain tiles, kind of makes a circle. Yeah. Okay.
We have a pretty wet spot on and off and flooded and then
Is our staff doing that?
Depends. I would say primarily it's our staff doing it, but they will from time to time use a company. I think on one of these drainage projects or two of them, they may have used a company for a little bit of extra assistance. But it's primarily our golf staff, which is like Charlie Lucan and his company
you guys going to someone's like
I think they would like to. Yeah, yeah, there's plenty of spots.
That's really important. I think that speaks volumes to the course and the sustainability.
Yeah, absolutely. It dries out faster versus.
So the Boy Scouts get enough involved with that, Townfield or
Yeah,
a
right.
swamp. A
Right.
swamp.
No, no, it's not good. I think our guys do a great job of keeping up on that. Keeping their finger on what areas of the course need a little TLC from year to year. So in relation to the forestry management grant that I was talking about, Mike Thriller, who is here, he's a certified arborist that we have on staff. Has applied for and was already awarded a $30,000 forestry management grant through the U.S. Forest Service and Illinois DNR. So that grant will be to create an inventory list of trees in Shiloh Park, and then kind of like in the immediate vicinity here. So those dollars will go toward that, and then Mike has already applied for the second phase of the grant, which could be up to $160,000 to actively care for the trees per the inventory.
So the taking an inventory of each tree, is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah,
That $30,000 grant is for?
correct. I'll let Mike, if you want to add to that, go ahead.
You know, we'll contract it out to tree service. They come out and they do a monitor. They give you the DEH, the type of tree, the height of the tree, and the health condition of the tree. And if it's a possible hazardous tree, they'll do a sungraph test to see if it's hollow. And then they write up a management plan for it. If they find disease or pest in it, they'll come up with a treatment plan to save the tree. And if there are trees that need to be removed, they'll rate them as, priority as how they come down. It's just a way to stay proactive and save that old savanna. And Charlotte is one of the last ones in native ones in Illinois, and we really want to try to save them.
Yeah. So yeah, Mike's done a great job taking initiative on finding some of those grants, working with the different associations. He and I talked about him coming back to a later meeting and doing a presentation on, kind of the plan and his efforts and expanding.
You be part of the science day for the organization. That's a difficult area to understand too. I'm not sure if this is public publication or public or private, but definitely.
It is, and I mean, and that's one of our missions as well, right? Conservation efforts, and, outdoor and natural spaces.
Uh, so last couple of weeks, we've removed 31 red oak and white oak that were completely dead from disease. They had to come out, they were hazard. There was one that was overhanging the Charlotte garage. It looked good from the bottom of it, but it was completely hollow on top once we went up and looked at it. So we had to get out of there so it wouldn't come down and crush the garage. So we had to remove 31 this last go around and put in there. But they were dead. There was no, they all had fungi, and a lot of them were from chestnut borer. Over the years, they just got in there. Chestnut borer is equivalent to the emerald ash borer that killed all the ash trees. This chestnut borer attacks oaks. And we're being very proactive with that right now. We're removing any trees that they can still habitat in. We got rid of them. And next year, we get the second half of the grant, and we'll start doing for them immediately.
But I think that's important for the board to understand that if you see some of that tree work, if you see 30 trees being cut down in Shiloh Park, if you hear from the community why they're doing that, right? I
So
mean,
we're not waiting for a storm to come by.
well,
We've
right,
done that before.
right, and we're not just taking them down to just create more sunlight or anything like that,
I'm curious to do management. What's the name of the company that we 500 work with?
Right. The company that was removing the trees was Santiago and Sons.
Okay.
Local.
They're a local company. We worked with them numerous times. They're very, very good at what they do. For other ones, the golf course uses a couple We've also used Davey. We used Davey Tree Service when we were around the playground, the Shiloh playground. We had some trimming done and some injections done over there. We used them.
Say Nels Johnson, I mean, we'll get quotes from the Nels Johnson.
Because then that we just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Okay, after this second book, there will be another book to cover your future.
So the grant that I just applied for is $160,000. That will cover 3 years of maintenance work in Shiloh Park. Right now, I designated it for Shiloh Park and around the leisure center. So it's in conjunction with the first half of the management plan, and then I was going to go into it later on, but then there's a second half that I was at because we were awarded the first grant. There's a third grant for the second half of the management plan, and that one was the boulevards. We're going to try to get a new for all the boulevards, and then there'll be another maintenance plan grant that we can apply for to help us do all the work on those.
Matching funds from the park district or just strictly grant money that we don't match?
Strictly grant money, we do not have.
Yeah, it's
The
great.
company is paid from private entities.
This is a state grant. It's through the IRA grant, the infrastructure grant that they now it's $1.62 billion, and there's a lot of people going for it. We're just very fortunate that we're in a spot in Illinois that is very proactively giving it out right now. Mike Brunk is the director of the DNR, and I'm on a board committee with him, so he's working with me on helping write some of these grants.
I was gonna say, Mike's worked hard to develop a lot of relationships, you know, in that industry over the years, and kind of get the insights.
Thanks for
Good job.
So the last thing I just wanted to finish up on before we got to new business was just talking about the city of Hope property tax exemption that Cheryl had started on. So to give everyone like a long history on it, I guess last year was when the city of Hope first filed their property tax exemption application. It went through the process where it has to go through county property tax appeals board, and then the county will then send it downstate to Springfield to the Illinois Department of Revenue with their recommendation to either approve or deny. So last year when they went through the process, very similar to what you saw today as far as a lot of attorneys in the room representing the different taxing bodies. The City of Hope did not have any representation last year. It went down with the recommendation to deny, and it was denied down in Springfield. So this year, again, was the county hearing. I was told between last year and this year they had fired their law firm. They addressed their deficiencies in their application. They were feeling better about it. But I thought at the meeting today, the city, especially City Administrator Mabel, you know, did a great job kind of again pointing out some of the deficiencies in the report. Those included everything as minor as like the CEO didn't sign it. It was the regional CFO was one of the things he pointed out. The numbers that they provided in their application were unaudited financials versus audited financials. A lot of the numbers were projections and estimations. The long list of pins, so the property ID numbers that the hospital holds, they just threw them all on there, where some of those pins actually might be a vacant lot or a vacant parking lot or an income producing like hotel property that they have with their residence quarters. So I thought they did a real good job today. And again, Cheryl wanted to add is I'm curious to people's thoughts, but I do feel more optimistic after we went through that county hearing today that hopefully when it does go down to Springfield, they will again deny it. Some of the numbers that we're talking about, the City of Hope pays $5 million in property taxes across all of the taxing bodies, right? So that $5 million is kind of spread out to like us, the school, the library, and the city. Again, with us being 6.7% of the tax bill, you know, roughly we're getting about 6.7% of that, which is $100,000 would be the property tax amount that the hospital would pay to the park district. So if, there was a situation where that property tax exemption were granted by the Department of Revenue, without collective action from all the taxing bodies, that deficit or that hole would just fall on the backs of residents, right, and all the remaining taxpayers. So that could increase people's property taxes potentially by 10%. So there was a woman at the hearing today who kind of gave her public comment. She said, this could increase my property taxes by $800. So again, without collective action from the taxing bodies, that could potentially be an effect if it were to pass. Obviously, with the park district being one of the smaller players in the game, right? Us and the library kind of have two of the smallest slices of the tax pie, with the larger pieces being the grade school and the high school, right?
Representatives, the schools.
The school's attorney was there. Yeah, the school's attorney was there. He spoke after the city's attorney. Remember the guy that spoke after the forensic accountant.
Is there a case on the merit? Find things and move on with the application.
Right.
So if they got those things fixed, next year they can come back for the home run. On the merit, so you did everything right. What are our chances?
Yeah, we did.
Is this? I was at this event the other day. They were speaking as past tense of the that this is going to happen.
Oh, see, that's interesting. We've spoken to employees too at different levels in the organization. Some have no idea that it's even going after. Some employees.
I'm not sure how high the letter should be able to speak with. She brought that up herself.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, is this typically done? I mean, you mentioned City of Hope.
Right. So when City of Hope acquired Cancer Treatment Center of America 4 or 5 years ago, whenever that kind of acquisition happened, I think a lot of people in the community were holding their breath and very concerned because that is the City of Hope's their strategy, whatever, or what they do. They go into communities around the United States, right, and then they start operating and they apply for their property tax exemption. And most of the places, my understanding is they've gotten it. But I've also heard that they have not had the pushback or the fight that Zion and all the tax bodies are putting on. So, which kind of makes sense now, looking at like what they've submitted the last 2 years. I mean, they're not really putting forth a very serious time, right? To get that.
And they weren't even there to represent themselves or a lawyer.
Yeah, and they weren't even there, so they were not even at the meeting. No representative from the hospital was there. Yeah. So I just wanted to be sure that the board is updated on that and give you the opportunity to participate in that thing. I don't know the timing of the process now that it has. So now it goes down to Springfield. I don't know. I haven't heard yet what the timing is on that. I don't know. I don't know that either. I don't know. I think there's a lot of questions around the timing and when it would actually come back. Right. Sure, I would find that.
When you find out the recommendation of the county board, will they tell you what their recommendation is?
They did tell us at the end.
Oh.
They did tell us at the end that they'll be sending it down to Springfield with the recommendations.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully they put a lot of documentation and a lot of good points in what they're going to pass on to the Department of Revenue, because my understanding is we don't have the opportunity to get in front of the hearing board, which I think is unfortunate. So, yeah, it's a huge strength. I thought that everyone that spoke today did a great job. And it did give me a little optimism. I don't know at some point when the county or state will say, enough, you're wasting people's time annually now, and we're not going to continue this. Who knows?
I don't think you're going to Springfield
the county said no. That made no sense.
I know. I
You
think it's,
can get done, but we gotta go
yeah.
to the next level.
I know. I think it's unfortunate because you're talking about Springfield, which has no knowledge of our community.
No, nothing.
You're right.
That made no sense.
Right. I agree with that.
Everyone else, thank you for the insightful. Move on to new business. We got an approval of quote for equipment for some food, PCA and government purchase to property as authorized by the Illinois Government
Yep.
Purchase Act.
Yes, so that is in the PDF. If you look at it, starts with Kara's write-up on PDF page 69. So Kara is here. She's our assistant manager of golf operations. She also, leads the food and beverage operation out at Shepherd's Crook. So she has a very thorough write-up here on the kitchen equipment that Shepherd's Crook would like to purchase. So her write-up is followed by the quote for all the different pieces of equipment that they would like to purchase. So that would be beneficial to have Kara kind of come and answer questions on any of the specifics in relation to the different pieces or her thoughts on how the kitchen's laid out and how they might do things differently. Um, it's nice too when the board gets a chance to kind of meet some of our staff. So do you want to just give a quick overview of your write-up, your thoughts, and then they can fire away questions.
So we purchased a small amount of equipment for the things that we felt were most necessary to replace in the kitchen after 25 years. That we like the grill just couldn't keep up. We had a lot of cold spots on our grill, so we just couldn't keep up with the same amount of food production that we're now required to with post-COVID. We've become significantly more busy. So we needed to keep up with that food production. So the grill was something that we purchased this year, as well as the flat top, which also had some of those problems. It was harder to clean, and it was also had some cold spots. It wasn't lighting properly, so we had gas fumes in there too. So I wanted to make sure that we replaced those two items for sure. Which then started kind of this other process of, well, what other ways can we improve the workflow in the kitchen and some of the other kitchen equipment. I worked in several other kitchens, so I had some of that background knowledge, but then worked with another kitchen designer and who had culinary background as well in other industrial kitchens. So he came in and gave his ideas on workflow and best sanitation processes and what things might fit better in our kitchen for the kind of growth that we've had in the last couple of years, and then what would benefit us down the road as we continue to grow, potentially give us options for down the road if we decide to afford something.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I read this, it was very thorough. I thought it was time to get it done. I thought your quote was totally reasonable. And my only question I had was, there's two reach-in freezers, is one going in one area and one going in another area?
You currently have two. One is a single door freezer, which is on there.
Yep.
That houses our back stock of bread so it doesn't go to waste, as well as our fries end up in that freezer. That's our freezer that's closest to our fire. So you can use access. Our second freezer houses the large majority of our food, and it's a double door freezer. That houses our back stock of burgers and chickens. We have two different kinds of chicken and some of our veggies, and a back stock of special event items that I have to store, wraps and hot dogs, and some of that stuff is in the other freezer, which is then next to the grill and flat.
Get that upgraded.
I think our big ticket item on there is the dishwasher, which
we don't have, we have a glass washer at the bar, which is fantastic for the amount of glasses that we go through up there. However, in the kitchen, we have to hand wash everything, and the only way to sanitize in the freaking part of the sink is to dip everything. Which is, and then we have a very small amount of space to drip dry everything. You're not allowed to use a hand towel or anything to down and cause bacteria to spread. So a dishwasher allows us to, which I put in the quote and my description there, will allow us to chemically sanitize as well as keep sanitized things. It's important.
Yeah, definitely a lot
Yeah,
of
it's
sick out
like
there.
your walk on your kids.
Absolutely.
Wait, you guys do not have a future.
We never have, and I don't know what the idea was behind that originally. If it was just too much to spend at the beginning because food service wasn't the first thing to go in a clubhouse. I don't think Brown ones can answer that question. Um, but as we become increasingly busier, we can't keep up with the same amount of dishes. And it's pretty much just one person back there who has to cook all of those orders, take any food orders that are coming in from a vendor, check those in and put them away while they're cooking, while they're doing dishes, and they're also the server as well. So for one person to manage that in July, when we have a couple hundred coffees there at a time, and we're serving 20 people at a time or more, that's a lot for one person.
Department of Health, I would think, the expectation that everything is washed to a certain temperature, to keep it safe. Even in a church, you got to do that. So, I mean, I'm surprised you haven't had to do that. So it makes sense that that's going to be consistent between, 12 germs. I like how completely right down to casters and honey bugs. So I think it works very, very well. Thank you for that. So, what is a huge a huge point? Are you going to change the kitchen about?
Oh, we discussed a different kitchen layout. Um, there are some things that don't make sense in the original floor layout, like I have a rack that houses a lot of clean dishes and serving items, but then right next to it is where all the dirty dishes are, which it shouldn't be dirty and clean right next to each other. So we talked about, well, we want to put the dishwasher in that spot, so it goes from dirty to clean. Um, so that was really our only big layout thing that we wanted to change. There isn't any other way to move the electric board gas the way that they're laid out. That really has to stay the way it is. Eventually, there might be a need to add extra counter spaces. We really don't have a lot of counter space, but we felt like maybe that wasn't the most needed right now. We're planning a big kitchen. And then some of the descriptions on the quote itself have different names, like the grill is not called the grill, and the range is like a not your cooktop, that they call it a hot plate, so it's actually a physical gas range.
Good. Very thorough report. Um, so that's we need to get a look.
Yeah, I just wanted to note too that this is already pre-bid through the PCA, Intergovernmental Purchasing Cooperative, so typically or the state bid limit is 30,000, and that you would have to bid. But because this vendor is a member of the purchasing co-op, we don't have to bid it, and they're also, a certified limit business.
If I can just ask before we put in the new guy here, this is something that we need to approve it, but it comes from from the revenue that comes.
Correct. It's already, we do have it in the budget as well, so if you look at Shepherd's Crook, like in the capital lines for budget for like clubhouse improvements, there's an amount budgeted in there. But the actual sources of like the funds, going back to what we've discussed before, yes, this is all coming from like Gulf using our funding.
We have to approve it, but it's not like it's an expenditure beyond anything. So, I mean, this is not tax.
Correct.
Talk about the person money.
Yes, yeah, correct.
So we take care of the same revenue stream as trucking
And this one, the 30,000,
Correct. Right.
can motion the approval of 6,715
Gotta make it more specific.
Yeah.
Gotta make it more
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the Federal Supply of USA quote for the Park District, $56,715. Carlson?
Aye.
Commissioner
Aye.
Clement? Commissioner Cox? Commissioner Patty?
Moving on to, at number 10, approval to, quote the install irrigation well at,
Yep, so I'm looking at there. So that's PDF page 82. Alan, our golf operations manager, has a write-up. That's the one that has the Shiloh Park logo on the top of the write-up there. So they've been doing different upgrades to the irrigation system. If the board recalls, you approved some of the controllers at a prior meeting. This is the well though that actually fills up the pond, right? So again, how we do it right now is we turn on the city water, and then the city water goes and fills up the pond, and then the pond is pumped out to irrigate Charlotte Golf Course, which causes us to incur a pretty significant water bill from the city, depending on how hot or dry a summer can be. So Alan has kind of been searching on and off, I would say, for the better part of over a year to actually find a capable well driller that can drill a well, so we no longer need to use city water for city water. So he has had discussions and met with this individual. I think Rich, you were out there when they met, right? Um, so again, our 4-year average annual water bill is around $13,000 or $14,000. This company, MCR Well and Pump, has quoted $11,750 to drill the well, which we thought was a great price. To be honest, we thought potentially that could be like $75,000. And what else? So we talked with the city. I have the letter in there that I received from Public Works Director Ray Roberts, where they have no objections. The city has no objections to the purpose of installing the well. And the Lake County Health Department had no concern either because it's an irrigation well, not a drinking well. So there's really no government from.
well, for the 4-year average was about 15,000.
Yeah.
And this is a one-time fee of 11.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a 1 year, less than a 1 year payback, and then we're just net ahead.
So will they not know until they drill if it's a good enough supply?
Good question.
Okay.
Rich could probably answer that better, but Alan also talks about, like, given that it would be, a lot of these well drillers were telling him, like, I don't know if I can get you enough pressure, I don't know if I can get you enough supply, and Alan's like, I'm not really worried about that. If I can just get the source effectively for free, we can run sprinklers every night if we need to, right? Lower speed
Pumps. The new pumps that were put in could basically a minimum of 35 gallons per minute supply power. Basically, we're trying to.
It's not like it affects anything for residents because they're on city water.
Correct. The day we met out with this MCR well company, he actually drew up a satellite view of neighboring wells in the vicinity, and this location is like right on the bay. So it's very optimistic. Again,
I
nothing's-
heard that too before. I was like, wait, they might not hit the
Right, right, right.
Nothing is 100%,
Right.
you know, drilling in the ground, like we all know. So, they were really, according to what they showed me, with the satellite view, which is accurate as anything,
So once it's approved, they're drilling before it freezes?
they actually would go out with their equipment after it gets cold. Because they actually gotta go along fairways and stuff, and the drilling rig is like 100 tons.
Oh, okay.
It needs to be firm out there so they can go out there and it would be minimal disturbance.
I have one question. Tom, I did question, I hear someone, wait, let's say can you guys use the water?
So,
Talking about like filling up the water truck or watering plants and trees around.
yeah, potentially we could if there's a, you know, if there's a filling point. The issue is us driving our equipment out on that course. Trucks and track, anything that's not turf rated, you know, yeah, I mean, we just
I would read the book and say, don't make me water, you get water, so about water, when you treat the plants. That was my idea with this. I know it's from the golf course. I did that on my TV. Saying you guys when you take the part with me.
there's a possibility we could, you know, use some existing irrigation and maybe send something along the trail. Let's get we would need to get the well in first to make sure it's supporting what it's supposed to do first before we start,
Where is that?
it'd be right by the pump house, so you probably wouldn't even see it,
Yeah.
right with the city.
You probably will.
Nothing big. They just come in with their drilling rig.
That's a no for me.
Yeah, it is an upgrade.
We've done, you know, I don't know if everybody's familiar, but that's exactly what we do. We've done that since probably 2 years in the course. For 1 or 2 years, we've been running city water district. We haven't used municipal water district.
Every, you know, coming. I never seen a well out.
Yeah, so if you drive around by the pump house there, and if you look at on,
Oh.
like on the east side,
I won. Well, I never.
Just move along, no other questions on this, we could get a motion to change the approval of the drilling, for the well by the MCR company, in the amount of $11,750.
I'll make the motion to accept the proposal from MCR Well and Pump Service for the installation of a well to recharge irrigation pond at Charlotte Park in the amount of $11,750.
Second it? Harrison?
Aye.
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 Moving on to item number 11, approval of tax levy ordinance, number 915.
Yeah, so levy ordinance 915 is for our fiscal year 25-26. These are the exact same numbers that we presented in the estimated levy that we talked about last month. So this is now the official levy document. So the process goes that we have to present an estimated levy 20 days in advance of the actual levy ordinance. And as I said, there's no changes to the numbers. This is just sort of the official ordinance in the format that's required to be filed with the county. The levy assumptions are based on the county's report that shows a 12.64% expected increase in the EAV. So again, the challenge is that we're just dealing with an estimated number from the county at this point. We don't really get the final EAV number until closer to like spring breakish, like the end of March. Again, just as a refresher, this levy results in less than a 5% increase over the prior year's extension, and it will be a decrease in our property tax rate of 8.8%. Because there are, in tax capped counties, there are different metrics built into the levy as far as how much the levy can increase. So, for example, if the city's EAV goes up by 20%, like a taxing body can't raise its levy by 20%. There's different caps in the calculation. Um, so this for us actually yields a decrease in the property tax rate. And again, we comprise less than 7% of a resident's bill, so we get almost 7 cents on a dollar. Yeah, and then I think, we don't know what's going to happen with the hospital, right? And we don't know when we'll know. And so I think once there is a clear and definite answer on that, then we would adjust. We would adjust accordingly. Because I think, the park district wants to be a responsible taxing body in the community, even though we are a small slice of the pie. So again, speaking of that, I see Kay has it up there. I think it's about PDF page 80, maybe 90, where you can see the breakup. 94, yeah, 94. So I don't know if there's any other questions on tax levy ordinance number 915. From here, we can take it down and file it with the county. And then, like I said, the process would be that the county would give us the final numbers, like in March, to kind of lock in the numbers.
The President sent a motion for tax levy ordinance number 915 for fiscal year 2025-2026 in the amount of $1,420,000. That's what she had page 2 of 8.
Oh, that's total is it's going to be 3,387,000. It's like PDF page 90. It's like 6 of 8.
The total tax levy for all purposes $3,387,000.
Carlson?
Aye.
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 Moving on to item 12, the bond abatement ordinance
Yeah, the bond abatement ordinance, again, is a new, we haven't done it in a long time. Cheryl, you might remember, and Jesse, you might remember some from about 8 or 9 years ago when we were doing the ordinances. This is a document or an ordinance that's prepared by our bond counsel, our attorneys, and it effectively says that we do not want to levy the tax to pay off the big bond. So when we issued that big bond back in May for the $2.7 million, it does have with it like a backstop of a property tax levy if necessary. But when we issued that bond, we said that we have another source of revenue that would pay that bond off, right? And so the other source of revenue is a small bond that's going to be issued along the way, right? And so this abatement ordinance gets filed with the county, and it tells the county, don't levy any property tax in relation to this, because we have an alternate source. And so some of the benefit of like issuing that larger bond the way we did, the way that it was structured, because it does ultimately give the investor like assurance that they're going to get paid back. So we say, for example, that we have a source to pay this, but if for some reason that source falls through, tax could be levied to make it whole. And so then that helps us get a better rate on our bond issue, because basically got like a backup payment source. But so what we're saying here is we don't want that backup payment source. So
Seeking motion and approval of ordinance number 916, which is the ordinance abatement tax levied for year 2024, paid principal and interest of the general obligation card bonds, city 2024A, general obligation bonds, city 2024B, and general obligation bonds, city 2024C, as ICAP district.
Carlson?
Aye.
Aye.
And the reason that's the different series is because Wind Trust bought that bank, but they farmed it out to like their different charters.
As well.
So they had to break it up into an A, B, and C series. Because different banks hold it, whether it's Gertie, Antioch,
Moving on, number 15, presidential delegates to represent the park district at the IATV annual business meeting.
Yeah, so this is kind of the typical meeting in this. We always have to designate delegates for the park district to represent our district down at the meeting in Chicago. So at the conference, though, the Illinois State Conference, toward the end of it, there's a business meeting for the Illinois Association of Park Districts, which we belong to. So then this is delegating or assigning a delegate to represent Zion Park District at that meeting, to vote on matters that might change any rules or IAPD and other.
One,
So we just have one delegate, and then there's like a bunch of backups.
Who's the
What's that?
Yeah,
Usually, and then usually it would be the president, vice president,
but
whoever's gonna be there.
it just depends who's going to be there. So the person doesn't have to go down for that meeting. If they're not going to be there, somebody else can be the first alternate. So we need to decide on the delegate, the first alternate, the second alternate, and the third alternate. The first alternate. And Doug, you'll definitely be there, right? Would you be interested in this?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there, so be it.
I got on this one.
Well, no problem. I think by the chance of us getting through the
Right.
it's unlikely. Yeah.
Moving on to item number 14.
We need to, yeah, just
Terms and motion to accept the designated delegates as presented, the first delegate would be
first, yeah,
First
delegate.
alternate would be Justine Tapan. Third alternate would be Doug. And I'll be. Aye. So, moving on to item number 14, review and change order for Davis Park.
Yeah, so there's actually no action to take on this. I just wanted to give you an update on it. I know the board has requested as much notice and detail in advance on change orders. Right, and so we don't have one. I was hoping that we were going to have one. This is kind of a difficult and tricky situation because of why it's required. So we don't have numbers yet. Unfortunately, it'll probably have to be an email at some point. This winter stabilization is required by the Lake County Stormwater Management Commission. It's in relation to stabilizing the soil out there for the winter. Because they don't want the soil to wash off the field and wash into the.
And we didn't know this when we were putting this project together.
When we put the initial timeline for the project together, the goal was to have the field seeded by this point. So to have some sort of seed on the field, which would have then acted as stabilization if we had some germination of the seed. But due to some different delays, as far as permitting delays and just other small change orders that have come up, it pushed it back. It's kind of pushed the whole timeline of the project back, which now, unfortunately, does require this winter stabilization, which doesn't really get us anything. It just stabilizes the soil over the winter. Yeah, we will. So I wanted to give you just kind of that heads up now, because we don't have the numbers.
Is it on the entire piece, or is it just like a portion of the side of the field?
It's like,
Wow.
it's like everything out there that doesn't have grass growing, basically.
Ay, ay, ay.
A preliminary number that we have, just so you know, is 87,000. And that is based on, so our contractor at this point is basing that on 46,000 square yards, which is kind of all of that, and then his per unit price of $1.90 per square yard from the initial bid for these kind of measures.
On top of it? On top of it?
Well, a stabilization like in another place. So what's the other stabilization, Rich, that he?
The stockpile,
Oh yeah, this.
basically anything that's bare dirt per SMC requirements.
Well, how much they bring, proof lots of over.
Crazy.
Yeah, there's no. We're not going to take any action here. I just want to give you this preliminary
Yeah.
intro, and so we are working. Honestly, as well as Scott, who's going to attend our December meeting, he's kind of seeing if he can find another vendor, an alternate pricing.
Yeah,
But we're
this is
making
just
sure
like
that
on
we're.
top of nothing, right?
This is nothing. Yeah. And at this point, it's not going to be seed because it's too late in the season for any of the seed to germinate. Like before, they had talked about like putting down like an annual rye seed that again would stabilize it. But we've been going back and forth with this, like Rich said, is just like a mulch. It's like a spread. Well, I mean that's basically what this is. That's basically what this is, Jess. But so it's difficult because we've been pushing off SMC as long as we can to continue working. Because like once they do the stabilization, the snow didn't help us today, obviously. So at some point, stormwater management's going to say, enough, you don't need to stabilize. Right? So we're working now on trying to get some numbers. But the preliminary number, like I said, I'm going to give you is 87,000. But like I said, so expect me to follow up with an email at some point. And I apologize for the timing of it and how we're going to have to go through the same process as far as like approve it via email and then come back and officially approve it in the December meeting. But that's why I just wanted to introduce it now in case there's any questions, concerns.
And the only thing I would ask is that whatever the cost it is, that who's ever looking at that cost knows that even though it's it could get thrown away, it's the best one that and it's
And we're in kind of a bind too because there's like just the county stormwater management tells us, this is what you have to do. So it's for us right now trying to find the most cost efficient vendor to
that's what Scott's working on.
He's trying to get some alternate quotes because he thought that I didn't like it. Scott, our representative from
Right,
Milwaukee,
yeah,
Hamilton.
this is how I was gonna ask, do we get his,
Yeah, he is involved on this one. He's been running down a couple different companies that he's worked with previously. We just need to make sure that the quotes that he's obtaining are, like an apples to apples. So yeah, so no action. That's just an introduction.
Well, I'm glad you're bringing it up.
Yeah.
It's a surprise.
I know, yeah, and I hate to do that.
Was that the one on
Yeah, we will have a quick executive session.
statement,
I'll make a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of the board discussing employment compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of employees pursuant to section 2C1 of the Illinois Open
Commissioner Carson?
Thank you.
Thank you. Aye.
Commissioner Lucia?
Thank you for coming.
Good. Thanks a lot.